Today, we're going on a journey. We're going to follow the path of a data analyst, starting from a giant mountain of messy, raw information all the way to the top, a powerful, insightful dashboard that actually drives decisions. Let's get into it.
So this is the big question, right? It's the challenge every business faces. You've got data coming from everywhere, but honestly, in its raw form, it's chaos. It's kind of like having all the ingredients for an amazing dinner, but they're scattered across 10 different kitchens. How do you possibly bring it all together to cook something great?
Well, the secret is you stop running between kitchens. You give your analysts one single, powerful workbench where they can find everything they need, prep it, analyze it, and build their reports, without ever having to switch tools. And that is exactly what Databricks SQL is all about.
I mean, just look at the difference here. The old way, what a headache. You're constantly shuffling data between your storage, your SQL tool, your BI tool. It's slow, things break, and it costs a fortune. But the Databricks way is built on the lakehouse. It's one unified platform where your data lives, where your queries run, and where your dashboards get built. Everything all in one place. Simple.
And the engine that powers this whole thing? That's the SQL warehouse. Think of it like the dedicated muscle that does all the heavy lifting for your queries. And if you use the serverless option, oh man, you get near instant compute power. There's no more waiting around for clusters to spin up. You ask a question, you get an answer, fast.
Okay, so every analyst's journey has to start with the data itself. But before you can even think about analyzing it, you have to be able to trust it. So that brings us to our first big step, taking that raw data and getting it ready for prime time.
The bedrock of the entire Databricks lakehouse is a technology called Delta Lake. Now, this isn't just a place to dump your files. It's a really smart storage layer that gives you all the reliability and performance of a traditional data warehouse, but with the massive scale of a data lake. It's truly the best of both worlds. So, what makes it so smart and reliable? Well, it comes down to a few killer features. ACID transactions mean you never have to worry about corrupted data during a write. Time travel. This is amazing. It's literally like an undo button for your entire dataset. And schema enforcement acts like a bouncer at the door, making sure no bad data gets into your tables in the first place. And it's all built to be incredibly fast. But having reliable data is only half the story. It also needs to be organized in a way that makes sense. To do that, Databricks uses this really simple but super effective process to turn that messy data into a truly valuable asset.
It's called the medallion architecture. Think of it as a journey. Data first lands in the bronze layer, totally raw, completely untouched. Then it moves to silver, where it gets cleaned up, filtered, and standardized. And finally, it arrives at the gold layer, where it's aggregated and shaped into these perfect, business-ready tables. It's a flow from raw clay to a polished sculpture.
And this is the most important part for you, the analyst. Your work, almost all the time, starts right here, at the gold layer. The really complex, messy data engineering work, it's already done. You just get to work with these clean, trusted, and super easy to understand tables. You're all set up to find those golden nuggets of insight.
All right, so now we've got this beautiful, pristine, reliable data just sitting there. It's time to start the fun part. It's time to have a conversation and start asking it some questions.
The place where this conversation happens is the SQL query editor. And the best part? The language you'll be speaking is just standard ANSI SQL. That's the universal language of data that pretty much every analyst already knows, so you can jump in and be productive on day one.
Now, of course, data has to get into those tables somehow, and you've basically got three main tools for the job. You'll use copy into when you need to load a bunch of files from cloud storage. Insert into is your go-to for just adding new rows. And then there's merge into, which is super powerful for complex situations where you need to update existing records and insert new ones all in one safe step.
But let's be real, the most powerful insights are rarely hiding out in just one table. The real magic happens when you start connecting the dots between different data sets. So how do you actually do that?
You do it with joins, of course. A join is simply how you link different tables together based on a piece of info they have in common, like a customer ID or a product code. It's how you connect your sales data to your customer data to finally see the whole story.
So, once you've joined up all the data you need into one place, what's next? You summarize it. And that's where your aggregate functions come in, like count, sum, and AVG. You're not looking at thousands of individual rows anymore. Now you're calculating the total revenue, the number of customers, or the average sale price. This is that magic moment where raw data finally becomes useful information.
Which brings us to our final and maybe the most crucial section of the journey. Because, look, an insight is totally worthless if you can't communicate it effectively. It's time to take that information and tell a story with it.
A great dashboard is so much more than just a random collection of charts. It's a narrative. It's a visual story that brings all those different pieces of your analysis, your sales trends, your top-performing products, your regional data, into one single view that tells a compelling and coherent story anyone in the business can understand.
And to tell that story, you've got a whole toolbox of visualizations at your fingertips. You can use bar charts to compare things, line charts to show trends over time, or just a simple, bold counter to highlight your most important metric. Picking the right visual for the right job makes your insight absolutely impossible to ignore. And actually, building a dashboard couldn't be simpler. It's a really straightforward 4-step process. You write your SQL query, pick a visualization for the results, add that visual to your dashboard, and then you just drag, drop, and resize until the story looks perfect. It's a totally seamless flow from a line of code to a powerful visual.
But you know, the best dashboards aren't just static pictures. They're living, interactive tools. By adding parameters, like, say, a drop-down menu to filter by country or a calendar to pick a date range, you empower your audience. They're no longer just passive viewers. They become explorers who can dig in and answer their own questions.
Because think about it, a dashboard that's showing you last month's data isn't really a tool for making decisions. It's more like a history lesson. To be truly valuable, it needs to be a live, breathing view of what's happening right now.
And you can put all of this on autopilot. You can schedule your dashboards to refresh automatically every hour, every 5 minutes, whatever makes sense for your business. You can even set up alerts so the system proactively pings you when a critical number goes up or down. It's like having a 24/7 watchdog for your most important data.
So there you have it, the full journey, from a chaotic mess of raw files to an automated, interactive story that drives the business forward. That's the analyst journey on Databricks SQL. The data is clean, it's ready, and it's waiting for you. So the only question left is, what will you ask it first?